Women have played an integral role in the IDF since its founding in 1848, while they are stark-related traditional roles such as teachers, nurses, and secretaries. Women can now serve in 85% of all army positions. In fact, 50% of women in the IDF serve in positions that were previously only open to men.
The case of Unity Club. Unity Club is a member-based organization formed by cabinet members and spouses, former and current, aiming at promoting unity as foundation for sustainable development. The fact that it is a membership of former and current cabinet members and spouses makes us say that once a member of Unity Club, you will always be a member. So, Unity Club was a moment where women stood up to be counted. They found their rightful place in supporting the government from behind, or from home, if you will. It was a recognition that every effort to rebuild Rwanda would not be sustainable and complete if women do not take control of what is happening in the soft structures of the Rwandan community. These are the hearts, the feelings, the wounds, the fears, the relationship, and women are good at handling these.
And I like what Dr. Monique said, inclusiveness. Rwanda has been able to be inclusive through its decentralization process. We can challenge our African traditions and incorporate them. When we went for the Gacaca codes in the year 2000, traditionally Gacaca codes or Gacaca practices were only for men. But because we had a constitution that required 30%, we spoke about Gacaca that everybody in our societies understood, but also we improved Gacaca to permit over 46% of it to be women. And Gacaca delivered on the justice agenda of the country. When we revise our institutions and permit them to deliver on the core mandate, inclusiveness and leaving none behind, women are going to play a very active role in securing. I should tell you that women are bothered by the absence of security, whether it's food security and heart security, let me use those words. Why? Because we belong to a society.
Let's understand what is asymmetric warfare. And there are many definitions. The one I use is from American CIA, which I tend to agree with, and says asymmetric warfare is defined as the use of innovative strategies, tactics, and technology by a weaker state or sub-state adversary, avoiding the strength and exploiting potential vulnerabilities of a larger and more technologically superior opponent. All the conflict systems that I've mentioned, the actors are the ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, and of course their affiliates.
Enhanced African Union and regional mechanisms for conflict prevention and resolution is also a key too. ladies and gentlemen, I believe these challenges and threats cannot be addressed individually and in isolation because they tend to emanate from related causes, which can only be resolved if addressed together through a holistic approach. In this regard, regional and international cooperation is vital if we are to succeed in our quest to build a more secure, peaceful, and prosperous Africa. The continent is already heading in that direction. In addressing the root causes of this threat in Africa, we want to understand the role played by illiteracy, poverty, and disease. In addition, we have terrorism, HIV/AIDS pandemic, cries of youth employment, mismanagement of natural resources, demographic pressures, organized crime, corruption, and proliferation of small arms, which play a significant role in asymmetric warfare.
I think my colleagues already touched on this, so I will keep this part short. I think it's worth thinking about what the attendees at this symposium 5 years from now will be focused on. We don't have a lot of time for depth on these numbers. Potentially we can talk about this in the Q&A, but I think the big strategic trends that we've been monitoring for so many years on the continent will become ever more important and ever more immediate for us. Demographics, urbanization, the population of the continent will double in the next 30 years. We just heard 60% youth population. The effects of climate change on livelihoods on the continent. I mean, there are certain pros and cons in urbanization and in population growth. There could be a demographic dividend. I know one of my colleagues on the panel yesterday mentioned that. But there's also a challenge if there's not sufficient opportunities for these individuals. So to conclude, taking into account the drivers behind these asymmetric threats and the challenges that we'll face in the future, our dialogue in the US is that the way forward is through interagency engagement and what we call a whole of government approach. But I think as I look out on the audience here and listen to the conversations over the past couple days, I think we really need to talk about a whole of world approach to engage with, first, our African partners here and the broader international community, multinational organizations, to address these challenges in a way that reduces the threat and provides security for generations to come on the continent. So I look forward to working with you and, more importantly, learning from you. And distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and since this is the AC, I'll say asanteni sana, mabibi na mabwana, and I look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Everyone switching to the cyberspace. You all open your telephone or your notebook and start surfing or sending messages or reading your emails, which means cyberspace is part of our lives. In Rwanda, as I said, everyone is candidate for cyber attacks, reason why everyone is urged to pay a lot of attention to what is happening in cyber domain or cyber governance. In 2017, we recorded 80 cases involving 3.3 billion Rwandan francs. SIM boxes led to a loss of around 500,000 to MTN. SIM boxes, it's actually diverting some of the traffic and using some electronic devices to conduct calls without necessarily using the normal telecom infrastructure.
The terrorist always is one step ahead. People who use cyber for attacks are on the same route. They first of all try to initiate, and you are on the other side trying to defend yourself. And now coming back to the last remark or the former remark, we have to be proactive and to initiate the activities, not to sit and wait. I forgot one more very important issue, speaking about the battlefield. We all like, as people who come from military origins, to speak about operations, special operations. You have a lot of glory, a lot of beauty in it. You send a small unit, you carry out some mission, an important one, and everybody is happy. Presuming, of course, it succeeds and everything is okay. Let me say that tomorrow morning, I found a new solution. Well, now, researching and inspecting, for example, the electricity net of some country in the Middle East. And after working some time, we found the weak points. And we say, okay, during wartime or in tension time, if we want to cause some damage to the country, we will attack at these points. We use them as the entry points into the net and cause damage as much as we decided to do. You have to maintain all the time, we call it house visits. That means you come, you carry out a visit, you see that nothing changed, the protocols are the same protocols, the net is the same net. And on wartime, instead of sending a command unit, glorious, brave, to carry out the mission, you take some 3 hackers in Tel Aviv, you know, with the glasses and shivering, and they sit, and with a computer, shoop, they shut down the electricity in a part of the country. Just imagine the effect. Thank you very much.
So if you have digital infrastructure and you are a good person, you will do a lot of good. If you have a digital infrastructure and you are a bad person, you will cause a lot of harm. The challenge comes in the role of security organs to determine and limit what the bad can do and enhance what the good can do. And nobody has an answer, but the need is clear. There is no way nations can allow terrorists to enjoy assets meant for developing people to harm them. So national capabilities for Africa are as imperative as building other capabilities. So it's extremely important, and it's possibly very, very timely that this college looks at this issue, because it will impact security of African nations. I would like to conclude by saying cyber, whether you understand it or not, it is there, it is virtual, its effects are real, its consequences are there and immediate. And its future will determine whether Africa is secure or not. Thank you so much.